2013, showing a growth rate of 26% over the last year. This facility is available for 11 countries, and available at this moment available at 4 airports, extended to 5 more airports called Hyderabad, Kochi, Bengaluru, Trivandrum. Goa is notified but yet to be functional. These are the names of the countries we have, and I just said this. This is regarding basically what visa facilitation initiative we have taken. Provision that in 2 months gap between 2 visits of foreign national or tourist visa has been lifted recently. Tourists visiting in groups of 4 or more. This is about collective lending facility which we have contemplated, which is yet to be operational, but this is something recently which has been decided in the Government of India, that tourists visiting in groups of 4 or more, arriving by sea or air or sea, sponsored by Indian travel agencies, approved by Ministry of Tourism, entitled to collective lending permit for a period not exceeding 60 days, and multiple entry facility to enable them to visit neighboring countries. On-press visa made as simple as tourist visa in our country. Visa application is now available in English and several other languages, including those in the Roman scripts. And visa application form is now available on our MOT website www.incredibleIndia.org. The recent initiatives taken by Ministry of Tourism, for which our Secretary has taken a lot of interest. We have proposed to set up a contact center service, infoline service, to serve primarily those who know very little about India or don't understand Indian system or Indian language or not even English. We launched a campaign called I Respect Women, basically to ensure, to bring about mass awareness about safety of women. In the recently held Conference of State Tourism Ministers in July 2013, in which a resolution was passed by all central governments and union territories of India to work for ensuring safety and security of the tourists, especially women. We have a special focus on both that. MOT, Department of Tourism of Government of Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, and IFC, they have entered into an agreement to upgrade the quality of services and goods provided to tourists in both these circuits in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. And this is supposed to be developed in an integrated fashion. Work is on that. Another initiative was that we launched a campaign to remind world that 73% of Himalayas are in India. This is, I think the slide is, that word has been deleted by mistake. 777 initiative. Audio guides. India is poised to give all smartphones owners free audio guides to 20 cities in India through a new software. The destination will include, there are many destinations, prominent among them is Golden Temple in Amritsar, James Singyong in Kochi, Salarjung Museum, Hyderabad, etc. We have also revamped our website, and now HAI, FHRI, AI and Indian Heritage Hotel Association, they all have links to our website, incredibleIndia.org. All 5 domestic airlines have no links to our website. Indian Railways Catering Tourism Organization, this corporation website is linked to a book in railways ticket to our website. Tour packages can be booked through IATO link. We have also taken some initiative regarding a travel planner. Google has created a travel planner for 204 Indian destinations. And India is the only country in the world right now to have a travel planner. Just by clicking a few important details of what you are looking for India, you could get a video, 7 pictures, 360-degree views, and all other relevant information about that particular place. We have also, in partnership with Google, created a photo bank of more than 2,000 photos about India. And with the collaboration with Pixel, MOT has also created a small bank of videos about India, within few months we should have at least 3 videos about every important destination and monument in India. We have a sound and loud shows, and we are putting it in YouTube in Dolby and stereophonic sound. We are also trying to develop niche products in our country, and we are exploring areas in tourism opportunities, wellness and medical tourism, adventure, wildlife and ecotourism.
Thank you, Mr. Goel. Can I now lay open the discussion, panel discussion, which is on promoting Japan-India tourism, vision, strategy and execution. The participants of this discussion are to be Mr. Shigeta Kubo, Commissioner JTA, Mr. Ryoichi Matsuyama, President JNTO, Mr. Subhash Goel, President Indian Association of Tour Operators, IATO, Mr. Amit Prasad, Chief Operating Officer, Go India Journey, La Passage to India, Mr. Anil Chattar, General Manager ITC, Moria and convener of Hotel Association of India, Regional Chapter North, Mr. Hiromi Tagawa, Vice Chairman, JATA, and Mr. Masaru Tamura, Managing Director, HIS Travel India Private Limited. Thank you. Thank you.
はい、皆さんこんにちは。今ご紹介いただきました、JTB ジャタの副会長であります、田川でございます。よろしくお願いします。
Thank you all for your time today. As I've been introduced previously, my name is Tagawa and I'm representative of JATA here and also president of JTB.
先ほど皆さんの方から日本に対するイメージ、あるいはインドの皆さんからこちらの国に対するイメージをお話ししましたが、私の方からあまり時間がないんで、今日は私は日本から来るアウトバウンドについて少しお話をしたいと思います。
So it was a very invigorating session previously to hear about the image of India and Japan by the previous speakers. I'm short of time today, so I'd like to restrict my speech about initiatives for outbound travel.
まずインドで行われているインクレディブルのインドキャンペーン、大変国を挙げて成功されていることに非常に心からお祝いを申し上げたいし、我々も見習うべきところがたくさんあるということをまず申し上げておきたいと思います。
From my side, I would like to begin by giving my heartiest congratulations to our Indian counterparts. Their Incredible India campaign has been a very strong success.
さて日本から海外旅行アウトバウンドですけれども、一昨年に1849万人という過去最高の数字を上げることができました。
A little bit about the outbound travel scenario in Japan. Last year we were able to cross a new record for Japan.
さてそこでインドに訪れた日本人というのは、2001年は8万人でしたけれども、皆さんのいろんなキャンペーンもありまして、2012年には22万人と 2.7 倍に今増えております。
Regarding the numbers for the Japanese visitors to India, we had the number was a bit paltry at 80,000 in 2001. This has risen to over 2.7% by 2012 to reach 220,000.
これもキャンペーンの効果ではないかと。インドの皆さんが日本に大いなる PR をされた結果ではないかというふうに考えております。
I think this is a very positive development, and I think going forward it can also act as a leverage for increasing both ways.
さて先ほど、もうデータがありましたけれども、日本人が最も多く訪れている国、これはインもアウトもそうなんですけども、隣国の中国と韓国でありますけれども、その中で先ほど言いましたようにインドには22万人ということで、まだまだ潜在的には多くの方が日本に来てもよろしいのではないかというふうに考えております。
If you look at the numbers for the countries that are most visited by the Japanese, then it is evident that the countries that are around our Asian neighbors, such as Korea and China, top the list. But looking at the numbers that we see for China and compared to India, we think that there is reasonable leverage for increasing the numbers to India.
特に日本のマーケットで私どもが毎年実施していますアンケート調査の結果について少しお話をしたいと思うんですが、最も多くの日本人が行きたいと思っている海外の観光地はハワイであります。
Now I'd like to tell you a little bit about the data that we have collected at our end about the destinations that are most preferred in Japan. If you look at the numbers behind me here on my presentation, and you see that most Japanese quoted Hawaii as the destination they would like to go to.
そのハワイについてはオーストラリア、イタリア、フランス、スイス、イギリス、ガム、カナダ、スペインと、そして韓国がトップ10に入りました。
If you look at the numbers, then we have Hawaii, Australia, Italy, France, etc., and even Korea in the top 10.
この中でアジアの国と地域には先ほどお話をちょっとしましたが、韓国が10位、シンガポールが13位、台湾が14位に入ってますけれども、残念ながらインドはこの20位以内には見当たりません。で、インド、ネパール、スリランカ合わせた南アジアに行きたいと答えた方は調査対象の約 6% でありました。
So if you look at these data, then what is not written here but it's shown as you can see, Korea is number 10. Following that, we are amongst Asian countries, we have Singapore at 13 and Taiwan at 14. It's very unfortunate that India did not come within the top 20 preferred destinations. The people, only 6% of the total respondents expressed an interest in doing a South Asia tour that covers India, Nepal and Sri Lanka.
そこで日本人はどんなことを期待をして海外旅行に行くのかアンケートの結果から見ますと、いくつかありまして、一つは自然や風景を見て回りたい、あるいは有名な史跡や建築物を見て回りたい、その土地の珍しい料理を味わいたい、あるいはのんびりと休養したい、あるいはショッピングを楽しみたい、文化を体験したい、美術館を訪れたい、そういったことがありますけれども、その中で特にその土地の人々の交換とか交流をしたいというのが上位のアンケート内容でありました。
So here we started analyzing the data about what exactly it is that people seek when they go out for travel to overseas. So we came up with this list, which is the most preferred reasons for going out, which include, to see the local nature or to see the local historical monuments, to be able to be one with nature or to be able to be in touch with a different culture and so forth.
で、先ほどインドの皆さんからレポートがあったように、インドの観光の魅力は多様で豊富であります。先ほど申し上げました日本人が海外旅行したいという目的については全部揃っているのではないかというふうに思っています。
So from my side, as our Indian friends have also said in their speeches, all of the reasons why anybody would want to go overseas to travel are already there in India. And India has probably everything that would be required ideally in an overseas travel destination.
観光資源の多さ、多様さからすれば、多分インドはハワイよりも上なのではないかというふうに思います。
Even in terms of the natural resources which form attractions for tourism, I think in terms of the actual diversity that is offered in India, it is way higher than Hawaii.
それなのにハワイではインドの10倍の方が行かれるということで、インドに興味を持つ日本人は多いんですけれども、それがインドに行きたいという気持ちになってないのはどうなのか少しお話をしたいと思います。
However, despite this, the number of people who are going to Hawaii is 10 times more than the people who come to India. We should look at this with a little more interest, because what this signifies is that although a lot of people are interested in coming to India, that interest doesn't link into actually wanting to come to India. Why is this so? Let us discuss this a bit.
実はハワイは非常にリピーターのお客様が多くて、3回以上のリピーターが日本人の ハワイ行きのお客様の半分以上を実は占めています。ところが、インドの旅行を扱う旅行者の社員に聞きますと、インドに観光に行った日本人の10人に1人かぐらいはインドが大好きになって何でも行きたがるんですけども、残りの9人は一度行ったらもう十分、二度とインドには行きたくないというそうです。でこんな魅力のある国なのになぜもう行きたくなくなってしまうのか、ちょっとお話をしたいと思います。
One very characteristic feature of Hawaii as a destination is that amongst the category of people who've gone to the same destination 3 times or more, Hawaii covers more than half of those people, which means that a person from Japan who has traveled to Hawaii is highly likely to go there again and again. As compared to this, in our discussions with people from travel agencies who handle travel to India, the impression that we were given was that 1 in 10 people who go to India land up liking it a lot and go again, but the other 9 tend to be more likely to say that India is a good place, but I've been there once, I don't see a need to go there again. Why is this so?
ちょっと耳の痛い話を少ししますので、聞いていただきたいと思うんですけども、一つは日本人は海外旅行に行くのをためらうという最大の要因は治安の心配です。で、海外旅行のウェブサイトにはインドの治安に関するコメントはたくさん載っています。しかしながら逆に騒乱やテロ、あるいは地域全体の治安に関するものはむしろ少なくて、目につくのは空港でのタクシーのトラブルとか、街でまとわりつく物売りとか、混雑した場所でのスリやひったくりや、駅で乗客を騙して高い気を売りつける、そういう旅行会社のことをよく書かれています。
So what I'm about to say might be slightly painful for some of our friends here, but I urge you to listen because I think this might be useful information both ways. The first thing which anybody puts a premium on when going on travel is their own personal safety and concern. When you look at a lot of travel information websites in Japan, they're full of quotes or stories about the security issues in India. Now, of course, there are larger issues like terrorism or general social unrest in certain areas, but this is not limited to that. A lot of the comments on websites that you see are about the fact that people don't feel safe in crowded places because there are pickpockets and people who are thieves. Or if they come to a station and they find that they're put into a cab which falsifies the bills or ramps up the numbers. So these are the things that they feel that they have to face on a daily basis when they come to Japan.
もう一つが旅先で病気になるということが日本人には非常に心配事でありまして、これもよく言われていることですけども、インドに行かれてよくお腹を壊すということもありまして、その体調を崩すという心配でインドに行くのを躊躇する方も非常に多いというのも現実です。
Another unfortunate impression that a lot of people have is that coming to India, one tends to fall sick a lot. That is one area of concern for many Japanese travelers, especially if they get like stomach trouble or upset. Japanese in general have already been used to a very high level of hygiene in their own countries. So for them to come here and to know that it is difficult to have raw vegetables or juices, and on top of that we have to have food which is more spicy than they're accustomed to, that can create havoc with their systems.
もう一つが衛生上の問題で、これは先ほどクリーンという話もされてましたけども、使いやすいトイレの話を具体的によくします。一般的に、日本のガイドさんが、観光に行く前に必ず皆さんトイレは済ませましたかというのは、確認しなければなりません。したがいまして、日本や欧米からの考えの情報に伴ってこれらの国のトイレに対する問題は、実は重要な問題でありまして、中国でも昔ですね、そのトイレの問題についても非常に関心を持って清潔にしてきたという経過がありますので、この辺も一つ課題ではないかというふうに思っています。
Another point that I would like to raise is the topic of public hygiene, which relates to the availability of clean toilets for travelers. Now, this is not something that is unique to India. In the past, even Vietnam and China had the same problem. And many times when we had organized tours going to these countries, it was very common for a tour guide to ask people before they leave the venue to relieve themselves because they would not find clean facilities once they're outside of the hotel. However, all of these countries, especially Vietnam and China, we have seen them actually take this up as a very serious issue. And they have taken steps to correct this. And now we find that especially in China as well, now that they have more visitors coming from Japan and Western countries, they have raised the level of public hygiene and the availability of toilets.
また最近は困ったことにソーシャルネットワークのようなインターネットが非常に普及してですね、このような経験したことがそういうことを書き込むということがありまして、そういったことがですね、また評判を下げてしまうという悪循環に陥っているのも現実だと思います。
I think what we should all be take into cognizance here is that we live in a world of social networking sites and online lives. Whatever experience people have, they tend to put it online and share with many more people. And this can create a negative cycle of perception. We should do our utmost to correct this.
こうしたように旅行されるお客様の日常的な旅行されている間の時間の中で行われていることが一つ一つ解決していくことが阻害要因を避けることによってインドのお客様をたくさん呼ぶ一つのプロセスなのではないかというふうに思います。
So all of these, they may sound like issues, but they are something that need to be dealt with one by one as part of the process to make India a friendly country, a country where people feel comfortable coming.
量の価値、あるいは量を増やすということについては、両国とも、日本もそうですけれども、非常にこれまで努力をしてまいりました。でこれからやっぱり世界の交流人口がいろんな国に行かれるときに見られる一つの条件として、必ず観光の質の問題が挙げられると思います。したがって、この質を上げていく旅行中のそういった小さいことでも質を上げていくことが一番重要なのではないかと。でこのことは先ほど言いましたように、口コミというソーシャルネットワークに全て乗ってしまうということになりますと、世界になったらそういう評価を受けるということで、したがって私はJATA の、今副会長やっておりますけれども、旅行業界としてもその質を上げるための努力をこれから相互にやっていく必要があるのではないかということで、先ほど阻害要因のお話しさせていただきました。
So whatever I have mentioned so far, this pertains to raising the average quality of the travel experience. What we have seen in the case of India is that India has made a remarkable progress, not only India but Japan as well, in raising their volumes and the number of people who have been visiting both the countries. Going forward, one very important factor that needs to be taken into account is raising the average quality of the travel experience. This is especially so because we are living in an age of social networking where everything is put online. So good begets good and bad can also beget a bad impression. So today I am standing here in front of you as an official representative of the JTA as a vice chairman, but I'm also a representative of JTB as a travel company, and as in my personal capacity as a JTB person. We at our company are also working on initiatives to raise the quality of travel experience, which is a big issue going forward for all people concerned in the sector.
当然、観光の質を高めるという中には、観光の資源、先ほど皆さん観光地のいろんなテーマを挙げました。そういった資源を磨き上げて、魅力的な観光商品を作り上げること、あるいは観光地の安全安心を高めること。あるいは我々旅行会社としても確実で無理のないような旅行手配を保障することなどが含まれていますので、そういうトータルの質の向上がこれからの両国の課題であり、私ども旅行会社としても役割だというふうに考えております。そういうお話をさせていただきました。
So this is just to give you a background again for why I was bold enough to lay out what I think requires to be done. Because all of this pertains to raising the quality of travel and tourism. Other factors which contribute to the quality include taking better care of our tourism resources to create better tourism products, so to speak. also to ensure safety and security in these tourism locations, and also to make sure, even as a travel company or other stakeholders, to make sure that there are no slips and messages that can alter the quality experience. All of these are issues that are not only there for India, they're there for Japan as well, and I think both countries need to work in their individual capacity and also together to resolve these.
Thank you very much. ありがとうございました。
May I open the panel discussion now? Thank you. Can I invite all the panelists, including Mr. Shigeto Kubo, Mr. Deoshi Matsuyama, Mr. Subhash Goyal, sorry, Mr. Goyal is not here, Mr. Amit Prasad, Mr. Anand Chadha, Mr. Hiromi Tagawa, and Mr. Masaru Tamura to please start the discussion.
We would like to initiate the discussions, the panel discussions now. So if you have any questions, you can ask to the panelist here. And the panelists, in the meanwhile, if you have some comments to make on the speech which has been delivered just now, they can make comments also.
So, Namaskar. Hi, good afternoon. This is, I confirm about the President Tagawa-san spoke, that's been mentioned earlier about the speaking. The India, the very, the how to send customers from Japan to India. The one of the reasons, my understanding that India culture totally, I think very similar in Japan, but actual basis very different. Actually, customer coming from Japan to India then also very customer surprise. Then how can we take much more the number from Japan to India in spite of actual the present situation? So how can we overcome this problem, be clear, whatever. So I know about the problem we're having and also we are facing right now. But what's the best solution to improve much more, taking much more customer from Japan to India? Please, if any comment, some visa issue, whatever I know, but much more than that, I think most the origin problem is there.
今のご質問に対してお答えしますが、それともう少しコメント、インド側の方からコメントを頂戴していただきました。
I think we all can speak a little bit. We've had a wonderful morning. We've seen some fabulous work by both the countries. We've seen some excellent presentations. We've seen how the concerns are for Japanese tourists coming into India, how the numbers can really swell up. But as part of the tourism industry in India, all I can say is this is a beautiful campaign by the Ministry of Tourism called Incredible India. And that's something, that's a vision that we all need to own that. So anything that we do in our country, whether it is hotels, whether it is transportation, whether it is communication, whether it is food, we all need to own this vision and understand that we all belong to this campaign called the Incredible India. And any foreigner, not only a Japanese, but anybody coming into India, we always have this saying called Atiti Deva Bhava. We need to own that and we need to carry that forward. There are some wonderful concerns that have been highlighted. Yes, the question is who will do it. So the ownership has to come in from us, has to we people, at any level, whether you run a 5-star hotel or you run a budget hotel, whether you run large restaurant or you run a small restaurant. But this ownership of giving the best to a tourist, whether a domestic tourist or an international traveler who's a little more discerning, is the ownership that has to come from within ourselves, and we need to carry forward this movement of incredible India. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. During my presentation, I just mentioned what is the situation and what is the challenges which we should have. And I firmly believe that both India and Japan has a huge potential to receive far more comparing existing bilateral two-way tourism. But for this, for challenges which I mentioned, is the visa facility and connectivity and perception gap. But to do that, I think that is a collaboration between public and private. Okay, as for the public side, as I mentioned, tomorrow we will have some memorandum of understanding between two governments, which is a facilitate how to, you see, smooth visa facilitation or something like that. But the actual ownership should go to private sector. Okay, there is a challenges and also potential. But to overcome this, I do expect strong initiative from the private sector, both India and Japanese side. Based on that side, I think we can achieve our mutual goal to more increase the number, there's more quality of tourism, and then to fostering more mutual understanding. Thank you very much.
韓国交流というのは双方向で活性化することが原則だと思います。双方向で、要するに日本からインドも、インドから日本も共栄トゥーリズムで活性化していくことが原則だと思います。
The basic principle for strengthening the tourism exchange between India and Japan has to be mutual, that it has to be from India's side as well as from Japan's side.
双方向の観光を通じての交流は、観光交流が活性化すると、その他の両国の関係、例えば経済的な関係をも強化することにつながると思います。
I very strongly believe that once the tourism-related exchanges between India and Japan get activated, it will get connected to other exchanges, which includes the economic activity.
今のところ、日本側からもインド側からも大変な潜在力があるにもかかわらず、数字は大変低いものになっていると私は思います。
At the moment, from both sides, whether it's from India to Japan or from Japan to India, the potential is very high, but the figures are quite low as compared to the potential.
今日のフォーラム、そして明日、インド観光省と結ぶ覚書、これらを出発地点にして、日本側はパブリックもプライベートもそれぞれ、最大限の努力をして、数字を増やしていこうというふうに改めて、ここで表明をしたいというふうに思います。
I would like to make this forum and tomorrow's formal function where we will have the signing of the memorandum of understanding between Japan and India as the starting point, and with this both the public as well as the private partnership will work together on Japan and India side to make maximum efforts to increase the exchanges.
日本側のパブリック、プライベートの今後活性化するということに対して、インド側からこういうことをやってほしいとか、こういうことを改善してほしいということがあれば、今日以降、ぜひ活発にご意見をいただければというふうに思います。
For activating these efforts on Japan's side, both at the public as well as the private front, if you from the Indian side have any suggestions or any request, you can make those requests and suggestions today onwards to us as well as otherwise. Thank you.
questions for our friends from the Indian private sector. I would ask Mr. Amit Prasad, who is representing one of the leading tour and travel companies of India, as to how a private sector company like his, what does it actually do to attract tourists from Japan other than the standard publicity material and the usual stereotype approach, if I'm allowed to say that. What does it do to project, for instance, some of the most magnificent sites in India? I'll give you examples of the temples of Halibedu and Vellore. I don't know if somebody's been there in Karnataka. And the magnificent forts of Rajasthan. These are treasures. These are just waiting to be marketed well. It's all very well to have nice pictures and, you know, do the standard stuff of road shows, we did so many and this and that. But how would you attract a high-end Japanese traveler to these, I would say, gems of the planet? What do private companies do, if I'm allowed to say, besides trying to get more and more tourists and jacking up the revenues? But in terms of positioning these magnificent sites, what is the creative stuff that you do?
Good morning. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes. As being part of one of the largest organizations that is promoting both the inbound and outbound, let me speak about what you asked. And yes, it is, you know, our major role to promote India in the right context in Japan. Of course, we do, first of all, do a study of what the Japanese people are looking at, their profile, and yes, they are high-end clients. So we have our own offices in Tokyo. We work very closely with them in designing the products in line with what the Japanese are looking at. We do a lot of one-to-one promotions. We visit companies, we do presentations. We try and educate them on some of the hidden gems of the Indian tourism industry. Yes, we do face challenge, and the challenge is that we have not been able to really expand the business out of Japan beyond the Golden Triangle and the Buddhist circuit. So it is really our endeavor to promote these, to see that these offbeat destinations are also promoted. The second challenge that we face is that we have a season. The clients only come in winters. We're looking at very, very attractive promotions to get clients to come even in summers. So be it a price, be it offering destinations which are not so hot, etc. Because if we can expand the season, we can get more clients coming to Japan. It is a challenge, but yes, we have the products. We do specific presentations on the hotels, the palaces, and the hotels which are part of international chains, so that we convey to the Japanese tourists that the world-class facilities are available. As you can see, this hotel that we sit today. So the education is an ongoing process. But we do seek close cooperation from the Ministry of Tourism, who actually have the funds to do the advertising, the media coverage, etc., so that India gets noticed in this high-end segment also. Definitely, business is on the increase, but we can certainly do with larger numbers.
Thank you, Mr. Prasad. I'd just like to make an extended point of what I was saying. You mentioned about the advertising budget and the marketing by the Ministry of Tourism, which we all know is constantly endeavoring to market places. But I'll give you an example. Pick any fort in Rajasthan. Take Kumbhalgarh, take Jodhpur, take Jaisalmer. These are the ones that are known, but Rajasthan is dotted with forts. How many private sector operators in this country have tried to hold a global conference in the backdrop of such magnificent forts? For example, when the former American President George Bush came to India, the Americans made a very nice suggestion of having him speak from the ramparts of the old fort. And then the rest of India followed. Everybody started going there because the American president was there. And we've got fantastic spots where, for instance, if a private sector was to hold a global or even an Asian event, that would bring it into the limelight and would have a multiplier effect because the global media would cover it, and that would automatically give you the kind of marketing that you're looking at, and you also send a message across there is a good air connectivity, there are these beautiful hotels around there. Why is it that it's only confined to these great five-star hotels? We've got beautiful sites in India. What does the private sector do? Isn't it something worth considering?
Your point is valid, but it also goes with the profile of the clients. Because the Japanese would first like to discover India as they've seen it in terms of the main tourist destinations, and then they move to the second tier locations. Of course, there is this whole question of the funds also being available to promote offbeat destinations. We still feel that we have not reached our full potential, at least from Japan, to cover some of our mainstream destinations. Once we are sure that we are getting enough clients visiting these main destinations, can we then look at moving to the smaller areas. There's also this question of the infrastructure of these places. Some of these places don't have this, the level of hotels that we feel that the Japanese clients will be looking at. So certainly we will do it as the next step, but I think we've still not reached our full potential while promoting the standard destinations to the Japanese clients. Right? But it is certainly on our cards, and we hope to work very closely with the industry to move to the second tier promotions of the offbeat ports and destinations.
May I please ask any of our Japanese friends here, are there lots of tourists from Japan who visit the monasteries in Leh, or do they only go to the state of Bihar and a few other places? Because I believe that the Buddhist monasteries of Leh are another very, very magnificent example of creativity, their location, and the awesome views there. Do the Japanese travelers go to Leh? And if they don't, is it because of the lack of infrastructure which should match the high Japanese standards? Yes.
So by observation, I can observe that I guess you a requirement. The answer can be met with my answer. I'm traveling so many places, not only India, but also other countries. Only I point out, only India, in front of, going to, in order for us to the check in the hotel counter, check in the security gate there in front of the hotel gate, entrance, they have to be through. Then also the big guys checking our luggage stuff. This kind of ways that, as long as in order for us to take a much more number from Japan to India, I understand it's indispensable because of safety reason. I know already. Also, India is still the alert from time to time from FLA whatever the terrorist coming by the Pakistan whatever. I understand the circumstances, but I will humbly request you to take me into take this much more into account, more seriously about the tourism industry, especially for the Japanese customer, whatever Korean customer, whatever outside. The purpose is sightseeing to visit India. Why this kind of people must be required security check, whatever, check again? This is done by airport already.
I sincerely hope that.
That's my tiny question about the visit. How come the India only? Look at Hawaii. Hawaii, the 10 times the number of India, according to Takasa mentioned already. How about Guam? How about Bangkok? How about another ASEAN area? Even though only India must be required security, even the hotel, entrance of hotel. That's going to happen in this kind of country. So some customers cannot speak English well, like me. So I cannot reject any question required in case of they have to answer. Scared, this India, so never come to India. So that's the entrance point. And other than it's okay, India has much more potential. World heritage, much better. But Japan knows about India. I believe much more than the India think about Japan. Because Japan to the number of people going to 220,000. But from India to Japan, only 68,000. What's the difference? That's obviously you can tell you.
旅行会社ができることが非常に限られてますね。治安の問題とかビザの問題というのは旅行会社は注文はできるけどもできないで、これはまさにその国や政府の間でやっぱりきちっとやっていただきたいということ。
You know, I represent the company in my capacity as a private company president, and I also represent the industry. There are certain limited roles I believe that we, as part of this industry or as part of the company, can do. We can give requests for organization of the visa formalities or improving upon the safety and the security standards. But in fact, these are the things which are to be done by the country.
日本の旅行会社としてですね、やるべきことたくさんあるんじゃないかというふうに思って、先ほど松山理事長からランドオペレーターの品質認証制度を旅行業界が作りました。でこれは日本に来るお客様をできるだけ質のいい旅行をさせようといって作った業界の認証制度です。これは逆に例えばですね、インドの旅行業界の皆さんにもそういう仕組みを作っていただきたいというのは一つあります。
There are certain things which we as private company operators can do. For example, Mr. Matsuyama has explained about the approval system for the companies in Japan, which targets in providing the best level of the services to the tourists who come to Japan. I would like that this type of mechanism should be introduced in the case of India also at the initiative of the Indian industry.
この実はモデルはニュージーランドにありまして、ニュージーランドにポールマークという、民間団体が中心になって作った品質認証ですね、ホテルやエアラインや、あるいは観光地も全部含めて、施設も全部入っているそういう制度がありまして、それを今、真似て日本の中でも作ろうということで、それが一つの仕組みです。
In fact, the system originates from the Polo, the New Zealand company, which has got a quality assurance system introduced, which includes all the various components related to the travel industry, that means the destinations as well as the providers.
もう一つの旅行会社の役割が、これは旅行会社っていうのは旅行商品を手配したりするのが仕事でありましたけども、本来の仕事はその地域の観光地の魅力を開発するっていうのがね、旅行会社の大きな仕事なのではないかと思っています。
Another role which the private companies or the operators have to perform, what we hear now, that is making proposals about various destinations or various packages, is one role which has taken the major front. But the original role of the travel agencies is actually to create attractiveness for the destinations by developing those destinations which are there in the areas, in the local areas.
私が所属する GTB グループでも今、日本国内でディストネーションマネジメントカンパニーを出して、地域の観光開発をですね、自らやると、素材を開発すると、そういうことを自らやるというふうに、会社の方針を決めて、今、ストラテジックに動かしています。
At JTB, we are taking a strategic move to create destination management company which shall take care of developing the local destination and also trying to develop the material that all goes with it.
今、ジャタに加盟する全国の中小の旅行会社でも、地元に入って地元の観光素材を開発するっていう、そういう動きに今、積極的に動き始めました。
We have in fact all the members of JATA have also started this initiative, has started participating in this initiative by going to the local sites and developing the material as well as the other components for that area.
そういう意味では政府のやること、日本の中でもいろいろあるんですけども、このインドの中でもぜひ旅行会社の皆さんが地域に入ってですね、そういうディストネーションマネジメントをぜひしていただきたいと。今日はたまたま JTB インディアの社長と、それから今日JTB-HS の社長が来てますけども、こういう日本で出している会社のそれを協力して、日本人向きの素材っては何が大事なのかね、ぜひプロジェクトを作って議論していただきたいなと。我々もせっかく日本からこういうインドに、JTB も HS もこういう形で、出展してるわけですから、そういうノウハウをぜひ使っていただきたいなと。まだそこのところの流れがね、十分できてないんじゃないか。今日はこれが一番実は言いたかったことなんです。
Now, likewise, I think there are many things that the government has to do, but I am trying to emphasize what the the private companies can do at their end. I would like that the Indian companies should do destination management by actually going to the areas of the destinations which they would like to promote. We have the JTB president, JTB India president, and even HAS president present today here. There are many such destinations which have been developed by them in Japan. So I would like that there should be some collaboration between the Indian companies and the Japanese companies, where they can try to emulate the models which have been developed on the Japan side. Somewhere I feel that this flow needs to be initiated. This flow has not been started so far. Maybe today's discussion can create some provision for such discussions.
これが具体的に多分民間の活力を使うということではないかと思いますので、ご提案をしておきたいと思います。
I believe that concrete possibilities of initiatives at the private level are possible through this discussion or through this issue. Therefore, I proposed this particular point.
Right. Sir, if you permit me, I have a question for Mr. Tagawa. For those who do not know, Mr. Tagawa is the worldwide president of JTB, which is the Japan Tourism Bureau. It's a company which has an annual sales to the level of $11 billion, which probably, I'm guessing, is more than the entire tourism sector put together in India. That's the guess. I just wanted to request Mr. Tagawa to share with us the secret of the success of JTB and how can we learn from JTB to reach such dizzy heights in the world of tourism. We would love to share the experience and wisdom of JTB on the topic of tourism promotion and travel industry.
あまり難しいことではないんですが、JTB は昨年100年という実は歴史を迎えました。私は私どもがやってきた、今、日本の中でもそうですけども、これからツーリズムを発展させるために答えがそこにあるのではないかなというふうに思っています。
So, strangely enough, there's no big secret. Let me tell you a little bit about my company. Last year, we completed 100 years of our existence. And whatever I've spoken about so far, I think a large part of where we see tourism development happening is from those ideas that I put forward.
例えば一つだけ今日、せっかくインドに来られたので、日本が戦争終わってまだレジャーマーケットなんか全くなかった時にインドから実は像をお預かりして日本全国に像を見せながら当時の子どもたちに勇気を与えるというそういうインドと日本の間にそういう像の交換がありました。でそれを実は当時の JTB グループが斡旋して全国に像を運ぶという作業をしてお手伝いしたことがあります。
A lot of the youngsters here may not know this story, so let me share a bit with you. After the war, Japan was in a very beleaguered state. At that time, India actually sent an elephant over to Japan, so it was elephant diplomacy, to kind of cheer up the people of Japan and to give them a little more strength. So this elephant was taken across the country and shown to the little children to introduce them to a world that they've never seen. JTB, my company that I represent, was actually in charge of taking this elephant all around.
でその仕事も政府から頼まれて、多分その当時の JTB グループがやってたと思うんですけども、そういう全く何にもないところから新しい交流という需要を作り出すという作業がその時にヒントがあるんじゃないかと思ってます。
So I'll give you a big hint. So this is where it lies. Actually, that initiative must have been prepared by the government. And JTB, as it existed that time, saw an opportunity that where there is nothing, we can create an opportunity for sort of an exchange of cultures.
多分皆さんはもうこれだけ世界が非常に進展をしたので、多分そういう交流する需要が当たり前になってんじゃないかと思うんですね。来ることがもう当たり前のように思ってらっしゃる。
So I think what we have a very celebrated audience here today. We have very successful people. What I think might be missing is that some of us may have become so used to the idea of travel or exchange that we take take it as something that we take for granted.
しかし実際はそう簡単でなくて、そんな簡単に交流が行われるのではなくて、その国自体がその民間企業の活力を使って努力して結果だと私は思うんですね。でここがやっぱりインドの皆さんの中にもそこのまだボタンがきちっとかけてないというふうに思います。
So in order to be successful, I think it is not only an exchange of ideas behind very brilliant minds, but actually getting down to understanding the reasons where the failures are and building it up from ground to top. And I think that is where the key to success in anything lies. That is my opinion.
私は今ここに観光庁長官がいらっしゃって、なかなか難しいんですけども、日本もまだそういう意味ではインもアウトも発展途上国です。先進国のように思われてますけども、まだまだ先ほどデータで世界の中で30何番目にいるとかですね、そういう意味ではまだまだ発展途上国なんで、お互いにそういう意味では話し合う余地が結構あるんじゃないかと、インドと日本の間に。そういう課題を解決する。そこで先ほど言ったように民間同士あるいは政府同士でその解決策をしっかりと決めて、一つだけ大事なことはスケジュールを決めてもらいたいんです。いつまでにやろうと。でこのことはですね、日本はたまたま2020年東京オリンピック・パラリンピックの来る開催が決まりました。したがってその2020年というのが今ターゲットになってますので、もし必要ならインドと中でもその2020年あと5年6年の間にそういう問題をクリアしていくんだという約束事が必要なのではないかなというふうに思います。
So which is to say, not that it is only a story about India. Japan is considered a so-called first world nation, but I think in terms of tourism, we're still a developing nation, both in terms of inbound and outbound. If you look at the metrics globally, we rank somewhere in the 30s, we're not even in the top 20. So in that sense, I think Japan has a long way to go. We, in our own way, are also a developing country in terms of tourism. And I think there's a lot to learn and to understand from each other so that we can both succeed. Here I feel that where the government stakeholders are there, both parties, government holders should also, government stakeholders should have a forum for exchanging and should proactively exchange opinions. Similarly, the private parties should also learn from each other. For example, he had mentioned earlier, which I'm sorry I missed out interpreting, that since you have the local companies such as JTB and HIS already with a presence in India, we should be taking the effort to make contact with them to understand the Japan psyche and to understand how best we can be appealing to it, because that's part of the exchange. So going forward, we need to set a schedule for these kind of exchanges and to understand what kind of time frames we want to get for what kind of results. I think that is the core part of the roles and responsibilities that I was talking about. For example, in Japan, we will be hosting the 2020 Olympics. So in that sense, we already have a timeline in mind. Certain things need to be put in place in time for the Paralympics and Olympics for 2020. So how about for India's side as well? We put 2020 as a longer timeline and also have a 5-6 year time frame for clearing the shorter hurdles which we set a time. And I think this is what is required, to sort of identify the issues and set a schedule for them and to start working towards it.
最後に一言、気持ちというか、これをやり遂げるための非常に重要な視点は、交流の需要を作り出すという気持ちとですね、もう一つ、交流の原点は、お互いの国の生活文化の交流だということだけは、ぜひ忘れないで進めたいということだけ最後に申し上げておきます。
And I'll end with one small other request, which is another thing which I feel very personally about. It is just my personal feeling. But I think when we talk about exchange or interaction, we must keep in mind that what we're exchanging in interaction is information about our lifestyle choices and our lifestyle culture of both countries. Both of that factor needs to be taken very well into account when we talk about the word interaction and exchange.
明日、先ほどお話ししましたように、インドの観光省と私ども日本の観光庁とで観光協力推進の覚書を結びます。でもこれはゴールではありません。ここから始まるという出発点だというふうに思っています。
As I mentioned earlier also in my comments, tomorrow we will be signing a memorandum of
これは政府間だけで今後の協力の話し合いをしていくということじゃなくて、多くの両方の観光関係者の方々も巻き込んだ形で議論を進めていくことになるというふうに考えています。
And when we take this forward from tomorrow's signing ceremony, this is going to be a joint effort, not to be led by the government and government alone, but is to be participated in large number by various stakeholders in this field.
両国の観光交流の推進には多くの課題があるというふうに今もここでいろいろご指摘を受けてますが、課題があると思いますが、こういったことも視野に入れて議論をすることになると思います。
From today's discussions, we are gathering that there are many issues or there are many problems that need to be handled on both sides. But I very strongly believe that this memorandum of understanding will provide for discussions on this front as well.
日本側の事情から言えば、田川さんからの話もありましたが、2020年、これは東京オリンピック・パラリンピックが開催される年ですが、2020年というのが私ども観光行政側にとってある種の一つの区切りになるというふうに考えています。
From the Japanese side, as mentioned by Mr. Tagawa also, we have one target set, that is the Olympic 2020. This will be held in Tokyo, and at our end, we have set this target as one major milestone for the tourism also.
2020年に向かって日本の国際観光の議論を進めていく、深めていくということになっておりまして、その中でインドについては非常に重要なポジションにあるというふうに私どもは考えています。
We would like to improve or increase our international tourism-related discussions towards hiking the tourism in this area. And among the overall efforts, India is positioned at a very strong position for discussions. This is what I have been telling in my remarks.
片川さんからお話しましたように、インドも日本も観光に関してはまだまだこれからやらなければならないことがたくさんある両国だなということを改めてこの議論を踏まえて感じました。
Through these discussions of today, I once again felt that there are many issues that remain pending, that remain to be solved on both sides, that is India and Japan, with regard to the tourism. Thank you.
As a company that also promotes outbound to Japan, I thought it was very important to share the trends that we are seeing in promotion of tourism from India to Japan. We are definitely seeing an increase in inquiries from the Indians wanting to go to Japan. As you know that Indians today are very sophisticated travelers. They're looking at very close interaction with destinations. They're studying the destinations very, very closely. And Japan is certainly now on their radar. But our teams clearly lack product knowledge. Our teams that set destinations don't know Japan so well. So I would really urge the Japan National Tourism Organization to hold specific product seminars to educate our teams how to visit Japan. What is the best time to go? What is a standard itinerary? What can you do beyond just Tokyo and Osaka, which I think are the destinations that Indians know? We have got clients who are asking to go to the cherry blossom season. We have clients who are asking to see Mount Fuji. And let me also share that the spiritual organization Soka Gakkai International has over 80,000 members in India who are looking to visit Japan, to visit the headquarters of Soka Gakkai International. So we could have tours that could be planned. So there is definitely an interest in Japan, but we need help in how to promote it.